So now that you have the audience's attention, thanks to your introduction, now it's time to delve into the heart of the matter. So the body of the speech is literally the heart, brain, and nerve center of your speech. This is where all the research you've done, all the major points and evidence that you've gathered are all organized, and where you will take your audience step by step through your thought process so they can see the logic you use to arrive at your conclusions. So with all of this information to go through, it is vital that the body of your speech be as well organized as humanly possible. So let's take a look at the best way to outline the body of your speech. So the first thing you want to start with is determining your main headings. These are your central ideas that you want to cover. You mentioned them very briefly in the preview statement, but now it's time to expand out and explore them in greater detail. So what you want to do is you want to start by settling on the main points that you want to focus on. You'll need to decide for yourself how many points you want to explore, but generally speaking, you need at least 3. I think 3 is the golden number here. Some people might say push it to 4 or 5, but that will lengthen your speech unless you're cutting down the amount of information you're giving in each section. So it's a choice you have to make. A common theory on public speaking is that after you've talked for about 10 minutes on any one topic, the audience is going to start to tune out. That's just human nature. So therefore, you want to pick the most vital points that you want to cover. Now, we'll discuss the various forms of organization in the next video, but for now, you want to select, let's say, the 3. That's going to be our kind of standard number. You want to pick the 3 most important areas of discussion and highlight them. If you recall from the introductory video, I had used the example of doing a review for the 1987 film The Monster Squad when I was talking about my preview statement. So I'd like to return to that example to show you how to expand some of those things out. When I was discussing the movie review example in my preview statement, I mentioned the 3 points that I wanted to address: the film's strengths, its weaknesses, and its lasting place in pop culture. So that was for the preview statement. I wanted to keep these areas relatively simple and bite-sized, but for the main body, I want to expand them out a bit, give them some more impressive titles. So, for example, instead of saying the film's strengths, I broaden that out to something along the lines of, first, let's examine the acting, writing, and directorial choices that help to make the film a success. Okay? So right in that statement, I give you the points that I'm going to be looking at to help prove my general statement that the film was successful, and I've chosen those 3 points: the acting, writing, and directing. So there's an example of that. If we look at the second point of its weaknesses, we can expand that to, despite its many achievements, Monster Squad also suffers from several tonal shifts and outdated language that date the film and can hurt its legacy upon reviewing. So, as you can see with these main headings, once again, I'm taking the kind of bite-sized Reader Digest portions that I introduced in the preview statement and now expanding them out. I've thought them out a little bit more, and we're going to explore these things in more detail. So you've decided on the main headings, and now as you discuss each one of them, what you're going to have to provide is the supporting material. All right, this is reinforcement of the main heading. This is where you provide your evidence to support each of your headings, each of the statements that you've made. Here's where you will bring up examples, personal stories, potential observations. What's important to understand is that the supporting material is more specific than your main heading. All right, just like you branch the supporting material out from the preview statement, now you are branching it out even further to expand on these ideas and flush them out. You know, that you are using points that are specific to each heading. You go back to the example I gave about looking at the film's strengths, and when I spread that out, the statement I came up with, First, we'll examine the acting, writing, and directing choices that helped make the film a success. So this means that the first thing I'm going to touch on is talking about those choices, giving examples, and why those examples qualified as a success. It's not enough just to say this was successful. What made it successful? So to help you with that supporting material, what you're going to have to rely on are the details. This is where they come into play. Regardless of the type of speech you're presenting, the devil is in the details. Providing examples, personal stories, pertinent observations, this is a great way to help humanize your story and to humanize your point, to get your audience on board with you. But the addition of exact names, dates, events, numbers, personal accounts, points of comparison, this is what helped to legitimize your position beyond a simple emotional reaction or a personal opinion. These are the things that help justify and legitimize your personal opinion. So, before we move on to the different forms of organization that you can use, let's review what makes up the body of your speech. So these three major points, your main headings, those are the main ideas, the main goals that you are going to attempt to accomplish throughout the speech. The supporting material, so what is going to help you legitimize and support the statements that you are making in the main headings, and of course the details that are going to help legitimize those supporting materials, the names, dates, exact numbers that take it from simply opinion into a more legitimized realm.